Hi, welcome back. A bit early this time, and I thought I'd put another video on in between my usual times, which could take several 3 or 4 weeks or something like that. But what happened last time, last video, we were talking about these calipers and how to make them adjust nicely and get the tension right. And we got quite a few comments from that, and one of my subscribers has asked if I could give a demonstration of it in actual use. The use of the caliper might sound very basic to some people, but you know, if you've not had sort of formal training in engineering, you might not have been shown the way to do it. So I'm going to show you how to do it. And before that, I must tell you a funny story. It's not funny really, but it is funny. But anyway, here it goes. Now, I'm not a stand-up comic. I'm not professed to, but this was a true occurrence. Now, just to give you a bit of background of it, this pandemic we've got, this nasty coronavirus, it's really bad news, and those who've followed closely on my earlier channels, on my earlier videos, would know that I started off manufacturing this hypergraph machine, and my main customers were actually in the pharmaceutical business, in the industry, pharmaceuticals and research industry. And what happened was that most of these people in these industries, they research new products like drugs and things, and cures for coronavirus and that type of thing. And unfortunately, part of that process involves a lot of laboratory animals. And my machine, which I invented, made it easy to identify these animals. And it's a bit of a controversial subject, I know. But anyway, the thing was, it changed the methodology because of the way they identified animals in the labs. And before, for instance, they used a lot of rats, special rats, breed in one popular breed is Sprague-Dawley rat, and what they did, and mice as well, and what they did to identify them, used to punch holes in the ears. Well, it's a bit painful, that, you know. So, and anyway, the thing, I changed all that because I thought to mark the ear of a rat, it's near the sharp end, and you could suffer some serious injury. And anyway, I said to them, look, I think, look at the tail of a rat, it's much longer and it's away from the sharp end, you see. And anyway, they said, well, we only mark it, says we don't do that. So I said, well, you do now. And it changed throughout the world. All the pharmaceuticals, Imperial Chemical Industries, Monsanto in the States, BASF, all the research universities throughout the world, all the major research ones, and Johnson & Johnson and Ciba-Geigy, all those main ones that are involved now in making drugs, and those that are making antivirus serum for injections, for anti-COVID. This is why I thought this was probably got me thinking over the years. So most of them, all the major ones, did use my machine. And what happened was, here's the thing that's coming out, and then I'm going to get on with the video then. What happened was, I was working in my workshop, which in those days was in the garage. I'd sacked the car from the garage, and it was more convenient to put a lathe and one or two things in. And this person came down the driveway and saw me working, and he was looking for scrap metal and stuff like that. And he's a nice young, personable young man, and he's probably about 18 and 19, something like that. And he asked me if I'd got anything, and he belonged to a travelling family, Romany or something like that, and they'd got a sort of permanent pitch for their caravan, not too far away as it happened, and so some people call them tinkers, gypsies, I don't know what it. I try to be politically correct as I can, but he was a very nice person, and in actual fact, I've tried to find him something, and he invited me down to his parents' caravan, and I met them, really nice people, and I saw him quite a few times. So a lot of people look disparagingly at these travellers. Well, you know, they've got to live somewhere, they've got to find something to do the best they can, and I found him okay. But anyway, he saw me doing this thing, making hypergraphs, and he said, he was quite interested. He said, what's those? Oh, I said, it's a hypergraph. It's used for, I use it, research people use it for identification of animals. And he said, well, what do you want to do that for? And I said to him, well, you know, before you know, when you go to the doctors, you get a prescription, and before you have the drug to cure you, aspirin or you know, codeine or whatever it is, if you've got a headache, they have to test it on these rats first, and they test it quite extensively, actually, full term, what we call LDT tests, and I'll not go into that. But anyway, he said to me, oh, so I see, so I get my prescription, get a codeine and have from a headache. He said, yeah. Oh, that's very good, he said. And you know, he said very seriously, he said to me, there's just one thing I can't figure out. I said, what's that? He said, well, how do they know when the rat's got a headache? And I didn't expect that kind of question. But I looked at it and I just said, that's a very good point. and it is really. But anyway, that was it, and I thought it's quite humorous, but it was quite an innocent thing. Anyway, that's the end of the stand-up for today. I'll get on with this now, and back to the caliper business. So if you remember, we were doing this and made it nice and smooth. I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but it does help if you put a little drop of oil around the pivot area and on the surfaces that rub in together. Okay, so what we're going to do is to measure a piece of bar stock, what's in the lathe at the moment. I'm just going to adjust the camera so you can see it. It does get a bit difficult to do. I think you can see that. Let's see. Yes. So I said you can get good accuracies without using a micrometer. Okay. So this is how you use the calipers. So let's say, for instance, we'll measure that. Whoops. Well, thinking I've tried to put it where you can see it, and that's just the bar stock, and that's about 1 inch diameter. Oh, so it's not, I'm not quite on the thing yet. So I just tap it one leg like that. Now that's too much. Now I can, because I've got these adjusted really nice, I can just push it there, and it's still a bit tight. So if I just tap it on this side there, like that, and that's loosened it a bit, and that's made it more light now. So if I measured this, and it's rough bar stock this, but measuring it, I've got, let's see, it should be about 1 inch, and it is. It's, I'll show you if I can show you there. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but it is an inch, and that's pretty good. Let me measure. In actual fact, I'll be best off with my glasses on. My eyesight's not as good as it used to be. But anyway, I'm trying to make it so you can see it. And that's an inch. Quite. Well, it is. It's not exactly an inch because bar stock may vary a bit, but I'm just looking at the other thing here. You can see that diameter there. Okay, so if you remember, this is the same piece of material that we put a heavy cut on when in the vibration video. So I'm coming from here now. I'm gonna make it down. Normally I could go, like, you know, like that, and tap it down. So I have done, but so it's still too tight. That's too tight, you see. And if you can hear it, it's still a bit too tight. So you just tap it, change the grip of that, hold the calipers like that, and just tap it on the bar stock, just a little, not a lot. And this might be too big now. In actual fact, it's spot on. It feels spot on. Right, now if I were to measure this now, and I have measured it, and as near as I can get with the rule, it's near enough to just less than 35/64 of an inch. Just less than 35/64 of an inch. And that is that measurement there. Now, you mathematical geniuses will know that 35/64 of an inch is 0.5478 inches. 0.5478. I know because I've just worked it out. And so we've got this micrometer, which is a more than right micrometer. You could use a Starrett or whatever. But anyway, I'm not getting paid for this commercial. But 0.5478 is what we said. So I'm going to measure it with this now. I'm not expecting it to be 5478, but we'll see how close it gets. Well, let's have a look here. This is 0.5435. 25, 30, 40, 50. 0.5, 0.5, 25, 40, 43, 0.543, 0.54, 0.5434. Anyway, the thing is, I measured it on my rule at 0.547. Okay, so it's only 3,000 of an inch or 4,000 of an inch out. So I don't think that's too bad. When you're using a 64th of an inch rule, you get, it's like a bit of a guesswork. And you can also come, you know, I've done it like this before, because oops, once you've got your calipers set right to the thing, you can be more flexible. And then we've got a little bit, just press it that way. You can, if it's near enough, you can come a little bit off and just tap it that way as well, and that'll expand it a little bit as well. So coming down like that, watch, it's tight, it's a bit tight there. So instead of tapping it like that, which I can do because it's very, very close now, I can just come at a little bit of an angle there, and it'll move it up, but it's too much there. It's all a question of touch. And that's a good feel. Now, that's compares to what that one is there. So it's still going to be about 3 or 4 thou, or 3,000th of an inch out on that. But that's how it is. And then you can use it as a comparator when you're doing other certain turning objects, like I was describing with the. Just a minute, I'll just come back here. When I was describing the manufacture of that designer lighting project, because what I did, I used the this one, which is a spring bow internal calipers, and then what I did, I used that as a comparator, as a comparison, got that there. Very delicate operation, but that's how I got plus 1/2 of a thousandth of an inch to get the press fit with the thing. So anyway, there you are. There you have it. I hope that's explained a little bit for you. Also, I'll do something else as well. If you do, I can't do the machining actually. But if you, I've got the machine going now, but I can't actually show you the machine. But if you're doing a machine component and you're traversing along there with a power feed on the sliding or whatever, and you can take a reading from and come backwards from well, can you see me tapping it there? Yeah. Oops, there. You can do that, and you can, and as it's feeding in, you can just take a reading there, right? But from the back, because if you do it from the front here, it's awkward with your tooling. And if it jammed and you've not got that set at the correct tension, it could grab and push it down like that, and it might chop your finger or something like that, and at the worst. And another thing, it could ruin your calipers if it banged it there. So I was coming from that side of it there. And then see, you could just push it. If it's your caliper's set nice and fine, it will find its own diameter. It'll find its own width. But if you've got it tight, it won't do that. So this is a good way to do it. So that will give me the reading on a rule, exactly what I did before, without much setting. So there you go. I'll do that outside one again. I'll do it deliberately small. that's small. I'm just pushing it on, and that will give it near enough an inch, which I'm going to watch myself here. Which is, well, you can see it. Anyway, that's what it is, an inch, and that's good enough for sort of measurement, because that's 1 inch bar stock. And if somebody took a skim off that and a little bit, you could measure it, and there you go. So that's that. If it's too tight, it finds its own thing, or it can come out like that, and then press it down onto it like that. But get used to that, tapping one leg of the caliper like that, coming onto this. Now it's nowhere near, is it? A bit more, bit more, bit more. You'll get used to it. You'll get used to how to handle it. No, that's a little bit. So I'm going to do, I'm just going to tilt it a little bit. That is, moved it up a bit. Too much. And that is as near as you can get it. I'm not going to show you the measurement again, but that's how to do it. Tap, measure, open the caliper by tapping that way, or once you've got it set really good like mine is now, it takes a bit of time to get it like that. You can sort of just tilt it slightly and it will just form its own size. So a bit tighter. There's a little bit of variation on the diameter on that traverse there, from there to there. There's a little bit of variation in diameter because it was a roughing cut. So anyway, that's what that's the way to do it. So let me switch this off. No, it's trapped on the lathe. So thank you for asking that question, and about how to use it, the calipers, and that's the outside calipers, of course. Spring rolls are totally different. Yeah, so don't bother getting spring bow outside calipers. You won't be able to do what I've just shown you on them, because they're much more versatile, a lot better. But I do use spring bows for the internal, but get good ones. So there you go. Thanks for asking the question. It was very interesting, and what I can do is to check that video out there. In the meantime, so thanks for watching. I've had another subscriber as well, but I've not got the name yet. That since I put this other video on the use of the caliper. So anyway, see you next time. Have fun, keep safe, and live to turn another day. Thanks very much. Bye for now.